I see some of you guys in chat were asking about a loser's bracket or a third place match or something like that. Unfortunately, guys, in the Go for StarCraft Cup, it's single elimination and there is no third place match. So a lot of you may absolutely be head over heels in love with Grubby. I do apologize though because he's no longer in the tournament. We are just simply down to these two players fighting it out for first place and second place in this best of 3 grand finals. Now again, it's more customary to do a best of 5, but the admins have said, hey, if you want to do a best of 3, absolutely go ahead. So that's what we're rocking with for now. Spawning in the top left corner of the map, he is red, he is Zerg, he's from the Team Liquid. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Snute. And his opponent in the upper right, playing for the clan. Well, not really the clan, more like the personal sponsorship, but still a clan very technically. It is going to be XMG's TOD. Now, I think what TOD was doing that game was not a bad idea. He was obviously focused on going on the offense. If he had maybe concerned himself a little more with the defense and less about knocking down that third base of Snute, he would have been a lot better prepared to deal with that counterattack that came across the map. Because again, no mothership core at home. What are you going to do other than just struggle? So this time, I think on a map like Frost, it's still really important. If TOD is given the opportunity to take down a third, he should. 100% he should. But if your opponent doesn't take a quick third, if the Zerg you're playing against has like, you know, 9 roaches and 16 lings out on the map really quickly, chances are the third base is not going to be the point of contest. It's going to be, you know, actual army value fights, and you can't win that with just Zealots, sadly. Anyways, I don't know. Some of you guys, again, just going to address this one last time. Zombie Grub's not here, guys, because she's not always available 24/7 like I am, but she does join us for cast. We will together be casting the Go for StarCraft monthly finals tomorrow. So that's Tuesday. I believe it starts at 1600 CET. Go look at the Team Liquid calendar, though. It's going to have a much more accurate time than I could give you off the top of my head. But Snute goes for exactly enough gas for speed, and he's doing this off 1 base for the time being. I mean, if he was going to do a speedling all-in, typically rather, you see it off of 2. I'm really curious on what he's planning to do with this. I mean, the Queen coming out is going to allow him to get some out early, I guess, and maybe adopting a page out of Acer Bly's book, going for those really aggressive lings early on. We'll see if this works. I don't know that I'm in love with the idea of the 1 base speedling all-in, if that's what Snute's going to do here. He is making 8 lings and now taking his natural base. So this is something he can recover out of, certainly. The idea here, though, is to do a bit of damage before TOD sees this coming, and TOD will not see this coming because Snute's actually hiding them in base. I don't know. So the timing of this works out too. Like, did Snute scout there was a gateway expand? He did. So he knows that there's not going to be a cannon up at the front anytime soon. Mothership Core will rain hell from above on top of lings, but the Mothership Core doesn't have the most damage in the world, and looks like Snute is going to be doing these this sort of speeding all in here at the start of the game. Now, of course, you have to cut workers to make this happen, which means ultimately you have to cause some economic damage. Even if it's simply knocking down your opponent's expansion, that can work. If you can't go for like 40 probe kills, this is kind of like your next best thing. TOD sees this coming. Unfortunately, there's not a lot he can do about it. Just runs right past this out. I like that he chose to not even take the engagement here because, I mean, realistically, his goal, again, the economy, not an actual army fight. 3 pylons going to wall off the top of this. This will buy him a little bit of time. Will it be enough, though? Because, again, Snute is all-in with this, guys. More lings are on the way. He's still not making drones. Another Queen's coming out for that natural base for the larva injects. Zala is going to go down here to these lings. Natural base is canceled. A force field comes out. He's going to need to pop one off soon, though. Going to put down some... Okay, so the force field will probably come down here. He's putting down a ton of gateways behind this because he wants to make that second layer of wall. TOD knows that if he loses this wall, he loses this game. So fully walled off here, I believe. I don't think there's a way for Snute to sneak through this, but still, this is a huge investment that he has to make in these gateways just to keep Snute out of his base, combined with the fact that the natural base has been knocked down. Again, not a lot of economic damage was done, but if Snute starts droning now, and if he doesn't waste too much time on this, then I think he'll pull ahead quite nicely. But again, it's up to him whether he wants to tunnel vision into this. It looks like he is going to start making drones. I like this a lot. TOD off of 1 base, but more importantly that, just had to waste so many resources making 4 gateways, those 3 pylons, and looks like, going to try and sneak on in here, but of course the force can still come down, and the overcharge is still reigning supreme from above, but this kind of, it's weird, guys. If TOD's stuck on 1 base, guess what? It's 4 gates. It's a 4 gate, literally and entirely, and TOD could try push with this, but I don't know if he's going to necessarily try and push. Alright, well, some sentry's going to come down the ramp here, and this is going to allow him to start securing his natural base. There's a pylon trying to go on the other side of the map, so it looks like TOD will be just trying to forgate this final game. Understandably so, because he's not taking a Nexus anytime soon. He's got the minerals for it, but without a wall off, taking the Nexus first would just guarantee a death. 2 spines coming at home for Snute, though. He's going to be well prepared for this. I don't know. This is a rough spot for TOD. But if he's like keeping a calm head right now, then he knows that Snute cut a lot of workers to make this happen. He knows that Snute probably doesn't have a 3rd base up. While he hasn't been able to scout to confirm it, I mean, realistically, as a Zerg player, you can't afford that 3rd base if you've made like upwards of how many lings? 25 have died, and there's still another 15 available on the map. But with so many sentries, as he waits and garners this energy, he scouts with the Phoenix, confirms that there's only 2 bases, he might try and push. But I don't know, it's still going to be somewhat limited on what he can do. With lots of lings roaming on the map, combined with a couple spine crawlers down, no low amount of gateway units is going to allow him to win this game. He's going to have to go full bore all in. And because he's taking his natural base, that's simply not going to happen. So going to try a macro out of this. Snute checking on the map for any sort of pylons or possible ninja bases that could possibly be down. Of course, it's neither. There's a pylon over here, but that's about it. Oh god. Infestation pit. For Snute, I would normally say Swarm Host. In fact, for Snute, I will still confidently say Swarm Host. But because of the way this game is shaped up, this could actually be a quicker hive. Now, this sounds really dumb. This could be a quicker hive. And in doing so, they'll make it so that ultras can be made and no force fields will affect this game whatsoever. That's not typically the go-to, but it's definitely an option if that's what he wants to do. But I take that back because the Spire's being proxied way the hell over here, so we're probably going to have some Mutalisks come out soon. 3rd base on the way for Snute. TOD, in the meantime, is trying to establish a Stargate, but these force fields are, I don't know, they got to be perfect. There's not a lot of pylons on the map, and there's no warp prism with this, so reinforcements are kind of, ugh. I mean, TOD's worst case scenario, if he gets fully surrounded, throws down force fields, recalls out with the Mothership Core. Or hell, just recalls out with the Mothership Core. A couple lings on the doorstep for TOD. They're going to work away at this forge. Getting this could be huge. Not that it'll so much cut into the production of anything, but whoa, 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 whoa. Did he scout? No. Okay, so hang on. There's something really weird happening here. TOD, I think this is he intending for this to be Void Rays? There's no way he sustains that with his current economy, so Phoenixes might be his only choice. Forge barely lives with 8 health, but guys, he has not, I confirm, has not scouted this Spire. Now, to be honest, there's a very large chance that you play a Zerg player, they're going to go Mutalisk if they get ahead. It's just in the nature of the game. So, for TOD to have predicted this is some really sick game sense. Any other scenario, this might be like, you know, 2 Void Rays of production at a time to go for like a base snipe or something crazy with a recall tied into it, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. Now, while he does have 2 Stargates, he's not producing anything from them yet, and while Phoenixes do kind of counter Mutalisks, not in low numbers. Oh dear. He's going to set those Phoenixes up, and he's got the weapon upgrades on the way. Snute's also making Swarm Host in tandem with this. Mutalisks have been 100% revealed. So this is actually going to work out a little bit better. Now, Phoenixes can do multiple jobs that make them very viable in what's coming. Not only do they fend off the Mutalisks with pretty relative ease, because their units literally made to counter Mutalisks, guys. They'll be able to Graviton Beam up Swarm Host, stop Locust Swarms, get positioning, and start getting some control back in this game. Start getting some map control, if you will. But focusing on the pylon, I think Snute would have been great for Snute. He could have made sure no more Phoenixes come out, but instead it has to back off. The overcharge goes off, and the Phoenixes will chase these out of the base. TOD is, you know, for as shaky as this game started off, playing this really well. He's keeping a cool head. He's playing it pretty solid. And again, that's sick anticipation of that Spire, which is awkwardly undefended down here towards the south. I think he should be able to respond to this pretty easily. Wall of Spine's going to come down to guarantee that no free damage gets by, but... Were there ever spores placed down the main? No, 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 no. So TOD could gut a lot of workers out of this mineral line. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, as many as his energy affords to him, but in the middle of the map is where he's going to need everything else. Guardian Shield does affect Glaive Worms, and it does affect the bounces, guys, from Mutalisks, but it also gives a little bit of cover to the Phoenixes. If you don't know, you can actually cover the Phoenixes with it, but this is going to be not the easiest thing in the world to deal with. These spine crawlers are simply not going to have any danger presented to them anytime soon. Mutalisks on the retreat from these Phoenixes. Phoenixes can move and shoot if you're new to StarCraft, but hopefully you aren't and just enjoying this game for the fullest potential in which it can be. We're up on... well, actually, TOD picks up another Mutalisk here. If he keeps the Mutalisk count low, then Snoot's not actually not going to have that much presence through the sky, but he's not investing in this, right? Like, we don't see +1 air weapons coming out. We don't see +1 hell, any sort of weapons coming out. He's just looking to get some damage done and press the fact that he had that early lead in the game. Now with the Swarm Host coming out, the Sentries are going to be very hard pressed to get anything done here. Swarm Hosts, by the way, they produce Locusts, and Locusts, of course, have a lot of damage to them. For those who don't know, Locusts hit about as hard and as fast as a Hydralisk does. So you're essentially getting 2 ground Hydralisk-only units every time you spawn a Locust, but their range is limited to very, very, barely better than melee range. So some Phoenixes, or sorry, a combination of Force Fields should be able to keep Locusts back, but that's a hell of a lot of Phoenixes now in the main that are, again, going to find themselves with little to no opposition. 9 Phoenixes just going to Graviton Beam the heck out of everything. That one had the Graviton Beam coming out of its ass. I've never seen that before. Apparently that can happen. But yeah, there's a lot of energy. Like, honestly, TOD should get a lot of workers here. And this is what he does to get back into this game. It's not going to set him ahead by any means, because he's not got the capabilities to absolutely wreck Snute, but Locusts have begun spawning. There's Spore Crawlers, there's Spine Crawlers. If there's one thing you cannot lift, it's buildings. So yeah, the static D here is going to provide quite a nice amount of cover for this. 4 Queens and a couple Spore Crawlers going to chase with these Phoenixes again. Snute making some Infestors behind this. He already has Pathogen Glands, so a good fungal growth on top of Phoenixes could shut those down. Let's not forget Infested Terrans can be an absolute pain to deal with. If you think Locusts are bad, try putting some Infested Terrans with them too. But that's actually 10 Infestors coming out. Again, going to be using a lot of that free energy to convert into damage done. Free Swarm Hosts, or sorry, free Locusts combined with free energy of Infestors. This is not going to be easy for TOD to deal with, but it's worth noting TOD is on 3 bases now. His economy, well, I shouldn't say now, but he's on his way to have 3 bases. His economy is not quite in shambles like it was before, and because he saw the Swarm Hosts coming so early, he's working on getting that Robo Bay up. Well, of course, Robo Facility for now, but the Robo Bay afterwards. Phoenixes are going to pick off a couple more of these Infestors. A fungal growth lands on them, though, and this should be the end of the reign of terror that these have been presenting. One last Phoenix will go down, and TOD has just given up a lot of map control. Coming around from the south, though, looking to wrap around. They're not going to have to go through the Spinecrawler wall if they come from the east side of the map. Sorry, the west side of the map, but unfortunately the Swarm Hosts are going to be difficult to deal with no matter what. It doesn't matter what angle they come from. Locusts are just this ungodly force. Well, base trying to be taken here to the north. Unfortunately, there's a Zealot kind of poking away at it. I don't know if the Queen can kill it alone, but 2 certainly can. And, oh, this has been revealed. I don't know what that was. I think it was a Zergling. TOD is giving away what's coming. So Snute brings the Swarm Host back. So many Infestors, though. Oh, my God. He's up to 13. Fungal growth of it in and of itself isn't going to get a lot done. These force fields, though, are going to keep the Locusts from ever engaging. So we see Infested Terrans come over the wall, shoot into this. These are going to push these back for a little bit. Once force fields were out, the Locusts start getting involved. And, well, Snute actually just used... I like that he didn't use all of his energy there. He's still got a couple of Infestors that are pretty well suited to deal with this, but the attack is pushed back for now, and TOD in the top part still trying to warp in units. Warp Prism loaded up, will go towards the main. 4 Zealots will most likely go towards that 4th base once again, and let's not forget about this giant force down here. If there's one thing Swarm Hosts absolutely struggle with, guys, it's dealing with multiple attacks on multiple fronts. They are not very mobile units, so coming back home to defend will not be easy. But Speedling saying, all right, this attack on my 4th is not a problem. I see what's coming here in the main. He already starts drawing his forces back, but perhaps, nope, decides to stick around here. There we go, fully in retreat now. Can't draw everything back, though. He's got to leave the Infestors down here. TOD capitalizing on this says, all right, Snute, you fell for my trap. You were distracted by 4 Zealots in the main. I'm going to push on in. Force Field's going to come down to try and keep the Infestors out, but again, Infested Terrans can be lobbed over this wall in a desperate scenario. Not that that's a scenario you ever really want to find yourself in. Hatchery under attack, but so is the 3rd base of TOD. Kanan doesn't quite go down yet. Dark Templars on the 4th of Snute. He is being pressured from all sorts of angles. This is a little unfortunate. Looks like he will have to give up this base. Transfuses are going down like crazy to keep it alive, but the cooldown's just a little bit too long for that. A couple more Queens are there, but ooh, almost gets the Mothership Core. Would have stopped that recall if he could have sniped it. But Locusts are misrallied in the middle of the map, no longer going across the field. We lost that base on the north for Snute, as well as the one in the middle part of the map. Just lost 2 bases? That's a lot of economy he's going to have to suffer from not having for a little bit of time. But But before we freak out about that, keep in mind, Locusts are gonna make up for that economy. That sounds really weird to say, I'm fully aware, but these free units constantly and relentlessly being thrown away at this base. Ooh, they're gonna pick off a huge probe transfer. TOD trying to sneak some probes to the lower right corner of the map. Gonna lose about a quarter of the probes in that initial volley, but this also tells Snute, like, wait, why would he be transferring probes right now? Someone who hasn't scouted this will have pretty good knowledge that TOD is taking not just one, but 2 bases down here in the lower right. Lings were going to run by and try and chase those probes down, but unfortunately for them, the sentries are here. And ooh, a nice donut out of TOD will catch a lot of those. Still, though, with 3 times the army value and 3 times the army supply, Snute's in a pretty strong looking spot. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to remake a hatchery, though. Is he really just going to go all in? Where are the infestors at? Hang on, guys. 12 infestors just chilling in the main for the time being. You know, this is, we gotta give credit to TOD, guys. He took so much damage in the early game from Snute's Ling all in. He lost his 3rd base here, but of course he's got those lower 2 bases to kind of console him, I guess. Snute doesn't know about this, but again, I guarantee you he knows about it. He just hasn't actually seen it on the map. Spine is going to add a little bit to this, and some swarm hosts have been pre-positioned down here to rally this way, so he knows this is coming. If the infestors can get a fungal growth on that mothership core, oh god, doesn't quite get it. Trying to get another fungal growth off. That gets the observer out of that, I guess. A bit of a consolation prize, but a warp prism in the main allows Dark Templar and Zealous to get up here once again. Warping in units. Snute has not actually got an answer to this for the time being. Some swarm hosts are waddling, I guess is a good way to describe it, down here towards the south. There's actually no detection with this army right now. There's no observer with this. Oh, this is gonna sting for TOD. But TOD is doing a lot of damage. Again, trying to lock down this warp prism. Some infested Terrans coming underneath it. Should be able to pick this off with one more fungal. Guarantees that it can't fly away, but not even needing to use that. Lots of queens being made because that's the best way to spend his actual mineral count at the moment. Long distance mining will finally cease as this 3rd base is reestablished, but TOD, he's on 4 bases, guys. It's weird to consider, but TOD is on 4 bases and he has split the map, but not in your typical sense. He is just literally split across the map. Swarm hosts are going to slowly bleed this base out, though, if he's not careful. Another Colossus actually being remade here. Where are the observers? Dealing with the swarm hosts would not be easy. But okay, getting towards this base. Again, one of the biggest things we got to give TOD big credit for, guys. Not the fact that he's still in this game by any means, but the way he's gotten himself back into this game. Warp Prism in the main. 4 Zealots to the 3rd. A huge army attack towards the other 3rd. I mean, everything he's been doing has been just capitalizing on the fact that Snute went for these units that cannot respond to multiple attacks very easily. But, you know, these 4 bases I was talking so fondly about before are about to go down, sadly. There's nothing TOD can really do to warp in and defend this. Unless he goes for, like, some sort of massive recall. But even if he does, the Colossus are not with this army. So, Stalkers and Sentries don't shut this down. Probes are being gutted down here. Both players have actually lost quite a few workers so far this game. But between the Spine Crawlers, a couple Vipers, and, oh, where are the Swarmers that were at home? Over here in the natural, need to be brought down to the 3rd. Really critical that Snute doesn't lose this game, this base again. He's dealing with, again, harassment in the main. Queens on mass trying to stay in this game, transfusing the hive. Looks like that Warp Prism will be taken out once again. And the Warp Prism showing that it's a lot more effective at dealing with Swarm Hosts than even Colossus are to some extent. These Archons are all hallucinated just to soak the hits of the Locust, but there's really not a lot that TOD can do. Snute can actually lose all these Swarm Hosts and still come out ahead if he gets the Nexus. I don't think Snute knows about the very, very lower right corner base. Let's check that out real quick. No, he does. Okay. Jesus Christ, I didn't even catch the TOD made 4 robo facilities, guys. He's certainly going to be able to crank out Colossus en masse. The only downside is he doesn't have the economy for this. Keep in mind, he's basically on 2.5 bases mining. I mean, this actual, I take that back. His natural base has got a lot of resources in it because of how long it took him to finally secure it. So on 3 base economy for the time being, but, was on 3 base economy, now stuck back to 2. Snute is trying to establish his base here to the north, but Dark Temple are going to chase that off. And this has been a strange game, guys. A strange game. And Snute and TOD have both been playing this out pretty darn well. You have to give credit to both. Of course, TOD doesn't have an answer to fight the Swarm House head on, but his maneuvering around them all game has been fantastic. 4 Colossus at a time. What other matchup? What other player? What other map do you ever see this happen on? But Frost here today on Go4SC2 Finals. So he's got the Colossus count to actually finally deal with this. He can push back waves of Locusts and take minimal to no losses. Ooh, loses the armor upgrade there on that, I think that was the armor upgrade, maybe the weapons. Whatever, he loses the upgrade on that forge, so it's pretty close to finishing up. A little bit sad to see, but Mothership core gets popped off. This is actually kind of critical. No more recall capabilities here for TOD. Now pushing in the middle of the map. These Colossus are, well, they need to be met up by those other 4. Why are probes transferring again in the middle of the map? Someone want to remind me? Oh, right. Because AI in StarCraft 2 is stupid. This game is going to be very difficult for TOD at this point. He did a great job getting back into this, but Snoot's broken the main, or sorry, the natural wall here. He's got Lings flooding in. He's got Swarm hosts all over the map. Snute is taking TOD's flipping bases, guys. Basically, Snute at this point says, all right, if I can't take my bases, I'll just take yours. TOD's saying, all right, if I can't take my own bases, I'll take these lower right evacuated bases. Void Rays are coming out, but again, there's... I don't know, there's Vipers, there's Queens, there's going to be the Spore Crawler lines to fall back to as well. I think the Infestors are still standing, so I am very scared. I gotta be honest, guys, I just don't see a way for TOD to get back in this game at this point. He's done so many right things up to this point, but he's gonna lose his natural base. He's retaking this lower right corner of the map, but the Colossus count that he has no safety. There's no Mothership core to get them out of a tough situation. There's nothing to really get him safe and sound. Dark Templar's gonna kill his hatchery. TOD has probably killed about, okay, I'm guessing here, this isn't an accurate number, probably like upwards of 7 or 9 hatcheries at this point by a combination of cancels and physical kills, as Snute just can't seem to catch a break. But now he's got Spore Crawler down and Dark Templar does fall. The army of Snute can't engage TOD head on directly, not until those Vipers get involved. Split across the map now, finally has the Mothership core joining up with the Colossus count. In a worst case scenario, in a world, he can go for a time warp, he can go for a recall. Recall's probably going to be his best buddy. I think after sniping this base, recalling towards his own main and then pushing out the natural through there might not be too bad of a spot, because he knows Snute took this base, right? Actually, looks like he's going to tear down that base with the Dark Temple and the couple of Zealots. Snute has no economy, guys. You know, I said that I don't see a way for TOD to get back in this game, but I certainly am now seeing a way for Snute to lose this game. As weird as that is to consider, as he might have a huge army, he might have a huge like physical presence on the map, but he doesn't have a bank and he doesn't have mining. In fact, he has 0 income right now. TOD, ironically enough, has 0 gas income, but he's got so many minerals working for him. I don't know. This is weird. Like moments ago, this looked like Snute was gonna win this game hands down, but now with no bases mining. Like, literally, no bases mining, it's very dangerous. Any trades he takes are trades he can't afford. Backing away from the Vipers, he says, yep, TOD sees this. He doesn't have the stalker count, nor does he have the blink to deal with them, unfortunately, much less High Templar. The Void Rays coming out were actually kind of critical to this game, finally getting back under control here for TOD 2. Not only are they going to kill the Stormhouse, but of course, they're going to take on Queens with very little issue. The only thing that's really going to shut these down is if Snute comes across the map with all those Infestors. Throws down like maybe a Fungler or 2, but more importantly than that, gets the Infested Terrans underneath this. Hella Changelings heading towards the south. TOD probably thinking, man, I've got a lot of Zealots, I forgot about these, but no. Swarmhost actually in full retreat. Why is Snute not even attempting to burrow these? There's actually no detection here. He needs to abduct the Mothership core. He needs to abduct the Mothership core right now. Goes for the Colossus instead. Not too bad, I guess, realizing TOD doesn't have a lot of anything to deal with this. Loses 4 Colossus. Will he lose the 5th one? Looks like he'll lose the 5th one. Oh, no, maybe not. Looks like it's going to walk away. But then, again, like I kind of wish he had sniped off that base earlier and TOD had just recalled to the main to reclaim this. This is where his production is. Like, it's weird. He's trying to get production up down here, but for now he's got to rely on less about Colossus and more about getting this like air dominance up. I mean, the Void Rays were a great choice, but unfortunately, did they get picked off? No, there's still 3 of them floating around here towards the south. I think at this point, TOD's trying to just transition what he can. Like, everything here in the main can just get lost. He probably doesn't care about it anymore. He's established 2 fresh new bases down here. His economy is superior to that of Snute's. Snute, of course, knows about this, but it's not like he can do anything about it for the time being. He's got to clean up the top right first. Once he cleans up the top right corner of the map, we'll see him shift his focus towards the south. But again, Snute has been long-distance mining with 36 drones for about, I don't know, I want to say 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes. Like, he can't get a base up and running for the life of him. TOD's been making the right moves. And if given another opportunity, maybe he plays this game slightly different, but I don't imagine by much. Fantastic all game harassing the main. Ducking around the sides with his army values, trying to sneak past Snute. Again, fantastic the way he's been playing this out, but Snute has just, I think, a lot of this is still snowballing and, of course, reconciling off that very early speedling all-in, but this was something that TOD perhaps was not quite prepared for in his fullest extent. I mean, everyone's watched Swarmhost games. Everyone's sneered and snickered and cheered for Swarmhost games, but it doesn't make them any easier to deal with when you actually come up against them. And the mobility Snute has with the Swarmhost, by the way, this is what makes him a better Swarmhost player than most. Like, I haven't really been drawing attention to it, but realistically I probably should have been, so, you know, my bad. But, I mean, his maneuverability with Swarmhost, a lot of players set him and forget him, and that's fine. You can try and play it like that, but Snute doesn't. He's been uprooting them, he's been moving them around the map the entire game. He's still got some Swarmhost up here. Hell, he's got creep spread in TOD's natural coming up to his main in a moment's time. And there's not even so much as a wall up here. There's nothing by TOD anytime at all. He's trying to get Colossus out desperately, but there's not really going to be much of any out. Over here on the left side of the base, he needs to go for another base snipe. Void Rays can get this done. Void Rays prismatically aligned do so much damage. And this is a hatchery, this isn't a hive. He could snipe this off with relative ease and recall all of his units out alive. Warp Prism in the main was another cute move, but TOD actually doesn't have really gateways to support this. Down to 3 in total. Warp Prism looks like it's going to die to fungal growth. Ugh, and it goes down. But attack towards this third base again, going to drive the workers away for Snute, who has only just recently established an economy. Does have this northern base though going for him. And TOD going to just try and retreat. So another big part of why you see him not recalling guys, like I keep saying like I want him to recall, but the reason he's not is because the second he does, he forces himself to fight over here and loses any map presence he has on the map. There's some pylons down here. There's a little bit of what you can, where you can for TOD, but realistically, this force being over here is the one thing that allows him to constantly poke into Snute. But I think he finally says, yep, that's going to be it for me. Good game, well played, ladies and gentlemen. Liquid Snute will be your Go for StarCraft Monday winner. 50 euros to him, 25 euro to TOD, but of course another pretty much guaranteed spot, I believe, in the upcoming monthly finals. Not tomorrow's monthly finals, but the next monthly finals. At any rate, I can't believe 4,000 of you guys tuned in for that. You guys must be masochistic. You must be absolutely pain-loving, because that was a little bit hard to watch towards the end, but of course, again, props goes to Snute. He snags it out in the end in the best of 3 finals. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I'm going to play some ads.